The Heartman is an old Barbadian story shrouded in mystery, but is there any truth to the haunting tales?
So I think the Heartman itself probably was a myth, but the incidents in St. Lucie sort of gave it some credibility.
The Heartman literally is what the name suggests. In Barbadian folklore, the Heartman is a mysterious, unknown, and very sinister being.
With no physical description of the ominous figure and very little written documentation, the Heartman is a character explained away by coincidence. But is that all it is? What were the intentions of this unknown entity? And where did it come from?
The first time I would have heard about the Heartman would be about age 8, living in rural Barbados, which then was distinctly different from what it is now. And in most cases, we had to walk from village to village along lonely roads, some of which were not asphalted. And there was always a feeling of dread, of fear, that if you ventured too far from your home or from the village, or whether you had to go to execute a chore or not, that you would be running the risk of encountering the Heartman. The Heartman is a human being who makes a living or who practices the exercise of going around killing persons, usually boys, little children, taking out their hearts, selling those hearts to the devil in order to gain money, fame, material possessions, or otherwise. And I was born in the late 1940s. 1950s was particularly a time for the Heartman. I don't know if there's any particular reason for that. It was in the middle of the century, and there was movement of people going out of Barbados, but movement of people from villages to villages, movement of people moving from villages to towns. And the Heartman coincided, or stories of the Heartman coincided with that more than normal movement of people.
During the 1980s, a peculiar column appeared in the Advocate newspaper that described strange and secretive acts that had been committed sometime in the 1950s. It stated that 2 men of St. Lucian nationality had arrived in Barbados, bringing with them horrible and terrifying intentions. The column went on to describe how the men captured 2 young boys and dragged them into nearby caves. With the assistance of a crude farming implement, the men cut out one of the boys' heart and had intended to follow through with the next. However, in the moment these 2 sadists were preoccupied with their nightmarish ritualistic sacrifice, the second boy managed to escape, much to the dismay of his captors. The police were alerted and promptly set about investigating the men, who were quickly tried and found guilty. 1 man was hung, while the other was set free, mainly due to his cooperation with the court in substantiating the story of the young boy. However, people around the country muttered that the man went on to utter strange things and act in increasingly inhuman ways, implying that the guilt of his acts had driven him to insanity. Locals attributed these unspeakable acts to devil worship, but were not foolish enough to miss a string of less documented acts that had the same hallmarks of the unnamed killers.
Yeah, you had boys missing, yeah. Had little boys missing. A boy went missing at border hall in the back of what village.
When they did find him, the machine was cutting things.
The machine, they take him out. He said the brown boys, that his grandmother, selling to the brown boys. And the brown boys then was St. Lucians. St. Lucians. And when he went missing, and everybody went searching boat for him.
The hair had gone,
But
he
when
was
the
there.
when the machine,
Point and
the
his
plant
body-
cutting came, the machine pick him up,
The body was there.
right? And don't find the body, but the heart is gone.
But I remember my mother telling me about incidents that had taken place in St. Lucie that were attributed to the Heartmans. Apparently, I can't remember the year, but there was an incident where a child was kidnapped in St. Lucie, and his body was found mutilated, and it was believed that the child had been used for devil worship or something. So it made the tale very, very scary because we felt that, as children, we were made to believe that there were these sinister people around who were involved in some sort of evil activity, and that if you were not careful, you could fall victim to it as well.
Stories with shocking likeness that occurred between 1935 and 1990 seem to corroborate some malicious entity with a particular motive. However, as Barbados transitioned into the 2000s, the stories disappeared entirely and the Heartman faded away. But who knows? The next time you hear a rustling in the cane, make sure you run fast or you will never be seen again.